For more tips and tricks, don't forget to hit that button and subscribe. Also, ring the bell so you can get notifications anytime I have new videos. Welcome to Paul's Toolbox. I'm Paul Ricaldi, and today we're going to cover the second half of this room, or at least the second half of the ceiling. We had popcorn ceilings up there that were really nasty looking. I was ready to get rid of them. I had some cracks in this ceiling, we fixed those, and now we have crown molding in here that really dresses it up. That's going to be on another video. I'm going to show you how to do this step crown, and it's really pretty easy. I'm going to show you different ways of doing it. I'm going to be giving away 3 texture guns along with some bags and mixers. Why? Because this is what I used to spray the ceiling. So make sure you drop a comment at the end of the video and be part of this. We had 3 winners from the last one. We just have 1 3/8 inch drywall nails, and I'm gonna follow it along this whole part that's cracked. Hit a few different areas to make sure that it doesn't push up and down, because that's the problem. I have a crack in there. I don't think this was ever done properly. I always had a little crack on this side. The other side popped up after the storm, after the Hurricane Katrina. I'll be able to bite right on the edge over here, or in the middle of this. You don't want to go on the outside edge. You want to go closer to the inside, but you want to make sure you hit that 2x, and you see it's going to crack a little bit, pop, but you dent it in so you'll be able to fill it. Simple stuff. And I'll flake that stuff off before I put my mud on, and we will not have a problem. I want to also straighten it out because it goes down and it's cupped a little bit. He didn't push it all the way up when they installed it, whoever installed it. It's not bad, but when you do that, you might want to, you should fill it. Come back over with your knife and some mud and fill that to make it even with the drywall over here. You want to cover as much as you can while you're on a scaffold before we move further. So I'm going to hit this area right here. Well, really, none of that. Just this little corner needs a tiny bit, and these little gouges right here. We'll come back over later with a light sand and just feather the edges. As long as you have it pretty good, you're not going to have any problems at all. Same problem on this side as the other. The corner bead is cracked. I see a little split there. We'll come back over and hammer it, nail it down. You see what I'm talking about? It's right there. I'll go past the point where I see the crack. That way I know I got it all. If you wet the corners down where the bead is, you can usually come back over if it's not too bad. Just rub it a couple times with a knife and kind of smooth it out. I want to make sure this is good and damp before I go put another coat on it. We don't want any dry specks all over it. Mess up my mud. I'm going to load up the corner where it's dented in a little bit. You notice when I get to the corner, I kind of pull it up a little bit to fill that void right at the end. And it keeps it from scraping it all off. It gives me a little mound right there, so when I come back the other way, it'll go smooth and I don't have any dead spots, low spots. Now we come back over, put a little pressure on it. Our mud comes right back off. And we have a nice, smooth corner. Took about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours tops. I cleaned up everything. I'm going to take me a shower, get cleaned up, let this dry, so the next part will be covering the spray. You can use a sponge like this, 120 grit or 100 grit sandpaper on it. You just go in a little circular motion where the edges are and you'll smooth them out. You can do that. Or you can use a screen like this. This is 120 grit screen, and you rub it on there. Let me show you that. The last way to do it is to take a rag and you rub it on the high ridges or on the edges. And you can also, if it's a little higher than you want to sand, you can wet it and you come back over and you just scrape it almost parallel with the ceiling, and it just skims it off right on the edges. You can feather it down to where it's totally smooth. Another really handy tool is a pole sander. This has a swivel on it, and you put your screen or your other type of 120 or 100 grit sandpaper on it, drywall paper, and you just set it on your ceiling, and you can sand it easily and get all your areas. Everything's sanded. It only took maybe 45 minutes to an hour to just hit these little spots. Unfortunately, it's overhead, so you get a little dusty. I'm gonna go knock this dust off of me, clean the floors, and we're ready to prime it. The next step is to wipe this ceiling down. So I have a couple of sponges in a bucket. I'm gonna wring it out where it's just damp, and we'll wipe the dust off because we want this primer to stick. I know there's a lot of steps to this, but we want to do it right. I'm going to use kilts. I don't like to use oil-based interior at all. I'm using an 18-inch roller. This really comes in handy. This is a light nap roller. It'll roll on this smooth ceiling easily. It's not a heavy popcorn ceiling. It's just flat. So let's get it. Load it up. If you have a ceiling and they've never painted it with anything but flat paint, it's not scrubbable, it would be very easy, just like I did. It's very easy. You wet it, you scrape it off. But if it has a semi-gloss or anything like that, if you see any kind of sheen to it, you can bet your bottom dollar you're going to be sorry when you start scraping it. I've done it and I hate doing it. A lot of times you can scrape it down enough, knock it down, and you have to come back, clean everything, skim the whole ceiling, sand that, prime it, and then go back over. That's the way to address one that's already been painted with any type of semi-gloss or gloss paint. We've already primed it, we let it dry. So that at this point, you'll be able to see every little imperfection there is. Even with my bad eyes, I will see everything in there. Because I'm going to use a flashlight like this. That was a dip on the corner bead, and it went in, and I just totally missed it when I was scraping. The last step before we put our texture is to lightly sand the spots that we touched up. Hit a couple of little spots on the ceiling here. Let's get the gun out. I have it set at 60 psi. We put our air on it. Okay, that's what we're going to do right there. Let's get it. Our gun just screws on the top of this. Super simple. A few turns and it's done. Now, as I blow it, I'm going to squeeze the bag just a little bit and you'll see. Barely squeezing the bag. See how easy it is to do? If I want to go heavier, if I want bigger orange peel, I'll squeeze it harder. Got a new bag on here. I will hit a little spot just to make sure. Perfect. We're ready to roll. I have this little tiny cap full of water from my bottle. I set it in there. It's clean. Well, here's my favorite part. We're going to give away some products. This is the Easy Pro kit that I used to spray the ceiling. Remember, I used a little over 3 bags, barely over 3 bags for this entire ceiling, and it came out awesome. I used some of the 4th bag to do different things on the wall, and I have leftovers. This will last you years. You can take this bag, put the cap back on it, let it sit for a year or 2, 3, and then come back over, pull the top off, mix it up with this little mixer, and it's ready to go again. Great stuff. I had some bags that were 3 years old that I've used over again. One of them I wanted to cut it down a little bit, so I put a little bit of water, mixed it, and it came out perfect. Well, I will see you guys on the next project. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out Paul's Toolbox for my archive videos. Hit like, and make sure to drop a comment because we're going to choose 3 people to win a kit. See y'all later.